Hey guys, Corby here. Wanted to film a little video today about sighting in a red dot on a rifle. Got my Radical Firearms RF-15. It's chambered in 5.56, 16-inch barrel, which is this part, in case you don't know what the barrel is. This is what you call an AR-15. It's the AR platform. Nothing fancy about this rifle. It's a really budget rifle. I'm on a pretty tight budget. So I bought this one. This was my first AR. I thought it better to have an AR than not. And I found Radical, watched several reviews about them. Their quality used to be not so great, but they've really stepped up their game and got a real good deal on this one. $400, and that was just the bare rifle. I've added a few things to it. I added this UTG vertical foregrip that's also light. See that? And just so you know, camera's on a tripod. There's no one back behind it. So if I pointed at the camera, and it's cleared, but there's no one behind the camera. I'm a solo act, which is why you'll notice that I have to move the camera, and there's not a lot of fancy editing or anything like that. Anyways, RF-15 chambered in 5.56. You can shoot 5.56 or 223 out of it. I added this UTG. I'm gonna grab the box here. It's a UTG CQB 30mm red green dot. I had one of these. I've got one of these on that came on my Ruger PCC 9mm, and I really liked it. This is a different model, same brand though. Like I said, on a real tight budget. This is a pretty inexpensive red dot. I know I paid less than $100. I think I paid about $80 for this. You can spend as much as you want on optics, and I will spend more when my budget allows, but right now it doesn't. I just needed an optic. But this has been a decent, I really like the one on my PCC. They have held zero really well to this point, but that's why we're out here today. I like how they work. I like how they feel. I have had a problem with the emitters. The emitters drain the batteries. They don't have shake awake. It's got a knob here that you turn it. You can turn it to green or red. Batteries inside there. Apparently the emitter goes bad because I had them warranty it. It kept draining the battery when it was off, and they sent me another one. It's since started to do the same thing, so I really have to watch it. It's not the type of red dot you want on a battle rifle, but it's way better than nothing. And I will upgrade at some point. But it has a quick detach base on it. And I, just like that, had to take it off one day to put it in a case. And it lost zero. And it's not far off, but it's definitely off. Last time I was out here shooting tannerite, we had a heck of a time. I was just shooting a little high and left. So I wanted to come out here today and do a little video on sighting in. And I recently, a friend of mine bought me a, I'm going to put this in the right vise here. Bought me what you call a bore sight laser from Strong Tools. I apologize about the background noise. I'm not too far off the road. I try to pay attention to that, but it's a laser bore sighter. It's a great way to get started in sighting in. it won't get you completely zeroed, but it will get you a lot closer, save you some ammo so you don't have to use as many shots. This is what comes in the box. So you got the laser bore sighter, you've got all the tips for different calibers, different sizes, got a couple of batteries, got a little screwdriver that allows you to put the tips on. I'm going to go ahead and get it set up for 223. I'm going to get the battery, go ahead and get it in here. Make sure I got it in correctly. There we go. Okay, I don't know if you can see that on camera or not. That may have an effect that I don't like on the video, but anyways, got it in there. It is accurate laser bore sight, and he sent it to me as a gift, and I got it out the other night, and when I got it and put it in my AR, and it was pitch black, and I went outside and I was just shooting it off I wasn't shooting my AR, but I was using the laser off of my deck. This thing is super bright, and so I could see that my red dot was off maybe a little bit, but it was pretty close, and the brightness of the laser in the pitch black versus the brightness of my red dot, I couldn't hardly see my red dot. So out here today should be better. I'm sighting in at 50 yards. Reason being, according to the ballistics of 5.56, 223 is not that much different, but if you sight in at 50 yards, if you zero at 50 yards, in other words, if you're holding your dot straight on at 50 yards and that's where you hit, the trajectory of that bullet, because you're shooting up initially and you're hitting at 50 yards, you'll hit a little bit high from 50 to 250 yards, but at 250 yards, those match up. So you're shooting up, you're hitting at 50 yards, you're going above. So at 100 yards, if you're holding right on, you're going to be shooting just a little high. But at 250 yards, you're going to be shooting on again. You're going to be dead on. So that's why I sight in at 50 yards. And that's based on advice from people much smarter than me that understand all the ballistics. But 50 yard zero is what I like to have on my AR. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to see this laser from 50 yards. I may be able to, but I just wanted to show you laser bore sight. I'm going to throw it in there, see if I can see it. The red dot has 0 magnification, so at 50 yards, it's just what you're seeing through the red dot is what you would see through your eyes. So it doesn't have any magnification like a variable power scope would. But I'm going to grab the 223 tip here. Comes with several little adapters. I don't know if you can read that on camera, for different calibers. I'm going to be using the blue number 2 22 through 243 caliber because a 5.56 is the same size as a 223. See if I can get this little thing out of here. Put it in my hand. Okay, there we go. Got the right one. And I dropped it. Thankfully it's blue and I can see it in the grass. So here's the little tip. There's a screw in it, and it screws right on the end of that bore sight. And the more you tighten it down, the more that plastic mushrooms out. So for 223, you don't have to tighten it down very much to get a tight fit. I'm going to try that. Again, always check and double check that your gun, if you're sighting it in and you're doing stuff like this, is empty and cleared. I don't have a magazine in, chamber's open, the bolt carrier is locked back. So you always want to make sure that you're empty if you're putting a bore sighter in especially, I have a friend who forgot it. He had his bore sighter in, looking at it one night, and accidentally left it in there, and ended up shooting it out the end of his barrel. That's not how they work. That's not how they work. But I've got it in there. It's a tight fit, and I've got it on. I'm just going to sit down and see if I can see that at this distance. I doubt I can at this distance. Normally, if you're using a bore sighter, you're going to start up closer. But I know mine is pretty close. I should be on paper with, and by that I mean on the target. I should be hitting the target to see where I need to adjust to. If you just brand new put this sight on, you might have a target that's 18 inches by 18 inches. You might be hitting off the paper, so you have no idea where you're hitting. I should be hitting on the paper. It's not that far off. I'm just going to take a look and see if I can see this bore sighter at this laser at this distance. And I can't see it at 50 yards. See it here clearly on my hand. It's on. But that's not really what this is intended for. You start with these up a lot closer, and it'll get you on paper. I should already be on paper, so I just wanted to show you that. It is a neat tool. You can use it for pistols and rifles of several different calibers. And it'll help you save some ammo. I'm going to grab the camera here. Just going to bring you over here, show you this setup. This is what's called a lead sled or shooting sled. It really helps when you're zeroing. You can essentially strap the rifle or shotgun or whatever you're doing. You can strap it in here, and you have adjustment levers or knobs, and this will adjust your up and down, and then you can move it left or right. This is kind of a fine-tuning knob where you can get it up or down based on where you want it. So right here, let's see if you can see this. So this is what we're looking at. I can see that red dot with my eye. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera. Let me turn it up. And I actually switched it over to green. Well, that's what we're looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the tripod, get it lined up, take a few shots. We'll go down and see if we're on paper. I'll show you how we adjust the windage, which means the left to right, or the elevation, which is the up and down. And hopefully we'll get this thing sighted in. So next time I'm shooting tannerite, I'm not using so many shells. Let me get this camera back on the tripod. Okay, I had a little mishap, turned off the camera. Get plenty of bloopers being a one-man show. Okay. Gonna grab a mag here. This is a Pmag, a Gen 2. Pmag is the MagPul is the company that makes these. Pmag is just what these are called. They're polymer magazine. I like them better than the metal magazine that came with my Radical. It's a 30 round mag. I've got 223 loaded in here. It is Igman. Let me get the box. I'll tell you what load I'm shooting. It is Igman 223 55 grain. So that's what I'll be shooting today. Get this set up here. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the tripod so you can watch me do this, and then I'll move it back before I shoot. Get it set up here. Okay. So I strapped the front end. Got this adjusted the way I want it. I need to go quite a ways down. I'm going to use this adjustment knob right here. Take it down. Okay, that gets me about the right elevation. Really helps if you have a really stable table to do this on. This table's not the most stable, but it will do. It will do. Okay. So I got my elevation. That's my up or down. My dot is on the same plane as the bullseye. And I'm gonna move this sled a little bit. Okay, that is really close. I'm gonna go ahead and charge my rifle. Okay, we're good to go there. And we're good to go there. Just going to take some shots right here, and then we'll go down and take a look at the target. So I'm going to take 3 shots. When you're sighting in, you want to shoot groups. Groups of 3, groups of 5. Let me make sure this camera's pointed in the right direction. That way you can see if you're being consistent. The lead sled really helps with the consistency. So what you're focusing on is your groups, because one shot you could basically get lucky, put it right through the bullseye, and think, oh, I'm good. But a group of shots, 3 or 5, if your group is, you got 3 shots or 5 shots and they're up here, whatever, they're not a tight group, well, then you need to work on your base, as far as you're having a stable base, your trigger control, are you jerking the trigger, your breathing, because you need to fine-tune all your fundamentals so you're doing the same thing every time. And then if your firearm, if your rifle, your pistol is accurate, fairly accurate, you're going to shoot a tight group. So if I shoot 3 or 5 shells and my group is, you know, within, let's say, an inch and a half of all touching, they might be up here as opposed to the bullseye being here, but that way I know, okay, I'm shooting high and right, so I need to move the red dot so I can line it up with that bullseye. So shooting groups is important. Groups of 3, sometimes groups of 5. But I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to shoot a group of 3, then we'll go down and see how we do, and then we'll adjust. Okay, I'm holding that green dot right on the bullseye. I'm going to squeeze the trigger. Okay. I can't really tell from here where that hit, but we'll go down and take a look at it. Okay. And go ahead and clear that. I know that nobody is going to be fooling with this gun, but I don't want to be in front of a loaded gun down there, so we're clear. let's go down here and see what we have. It's about 50 yards. Apologize for the wind noise. So you're looking at how I have this target stapled to tires. If you're thinking that these tires do anything to stop bullets, they do not. They do not provide cover. They might provide concealment. But you can see all kinds of bullet holes in those tires. And that's from everything. Biggest thing we shoot out here is probably 338 Magnum. And then lots of 223, lots of 22, 9mm. You can see all the bullet holes in those tires. So that's just a bit of information for you. You can also see some copper jackets from Full Metal Jackets that I shoot at these steel targets. That's why I don't shoot copper jackets at steel up close. That's a piece of copper. And there's another one right there. But you don't want that in your, well, in your body anywhere. So anyways, back to the target. So I was holding here, and this group is not terrible. It's within about, inch and a quarter. Not bad. You can see it's a little bit low. We'll take the average. So let's say that this is our average right here. So we're a little bit low. This line's an inch. This is a 2-inch circle, so this will be another inch. So we're about an inch and a half low. And which we're going to shoot another group to make sure. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do first. It's always a good recommendation to get your windage adjusted first. So that means right and left. So I'm going to do a slight adjustment on right and left, the windage, and get it to where we can shoot a group here closer to the center. And then we'll adjust the elevation. We don't want to adjust them both at the same time. You can get a little bit carried away, and then you're chasing it all over and you're wasting ammo. So we're going to go down, make a slight adjustment to the windage. I'm going to let you take a look at me while we're walking. So I had this thing sighted in from the first time when I first bought it, which is, was that last year sometime? I can't remember when I bought it. But it held zero the whole time until I had to take off that red dot to put it in a case that I was putting it in. And, you know, it's a cheap mount. As you can see, it's still pretty close to zero, but it definitely lost zero. I don't think it was the red dot itself, just the mount. And a lot of times your mounts, your rings, your bases are the reason that you're losing zero. Higher quality is better. They do hold zero better. So that's just a budget thing, budget problem. I'm going to close these caps for just a second. In fact, I'm going to take them completely off for now. These caps are handy for a few reasons. We won't get into all that right now. I'm going to take these caps off, and there are adjustment screws under here. I'm going to put this back on the tripod here for a minute because I've got to get in the box and get the little Allen wrench to adjust those caps. I could have thought about that before, but I didn't. So the principles that we're talking about here today will apply across sighting in pretty much any gun. You know, you might be sighting in with open sights, you might be sighting in with a red dot, but the principles are the same. And I just realized that the Allen wrench I need is not in there, so I'm going to grab one out of my Jeep. I'm going to pause the video, grab the right Allen wrench, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I got the right Allen wrench. It's a 1.5 millimeter. These turrets, these are called turrets for adjusting the windage and elevation. These have locking screws on them, so that's good. It keeps them in place, keeps them from being clicked around and moved. But you always need this little Allen wrench if you're going to adjust them. So I'm going, the windage adjustment is on the side here, so that's for right to left, and I'm going to loosen it first. And we're going to make a slight adjustment. Loosen it to where I can get a click out of it. Nope. A little more. Okay. Now it will rotate freely. It clicks every time. On these, one click will move your point of impact a half an inch at 100 yards. Okay, so if I click this and counterclockwise, we'll move it left, clockwise we'll move it right. So if I click this one click, it's going to move my point of impact a half inch to the left or right at 100 yards. So I'm at 50 yards, so it's going to be 2 clicks would equal a half inch. So one click will equal a quarter inch. So I wanted to go about, we're going to start with about 6 clicks. That's going to give us an inch and a half. And we're going to go to the right, so clockwise. So I'm going to click it 6 times. I can hear and feel that. I don't know if you could hear that on there, but I could definitely hear and feel it. So I'm going to put my mag back in, charge this again, and by charge I just mean load, let my bolt carrier go and close the bolt. So now I've got to readjust to get this back on target. Okay, I believe it's there. Now the less movement on your table, your gun, your sled, the better, because every little movement will throw you off a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get adjusted. I'm going to shoot another group of 3, and then we'll go down and take a look. Clear again. Go down and take another look. Looks like we're really close. Okay. So this, and this were my first group. This, and this was that last group. So I'm going to call that, we might give it one click to the right if this is these two and this one. And then we'll adjust our elevation, our up and down. So we're really close. Let's go back and take a few more shots. If you start this project or this process from scratch and you mount a new optic on a rifle or pistol's a little bit different. I mean, it's same basic process, but usually you're a lot closer. I don't sight my pistols in at 50 yards. But if you mount a new optic from scratch, you might not be hitting that paper at all, so you could be going through a lot of ammo. In that case, start at 25 yards and then move back. Get your windage or your side to side established, because it should, in theory, if you get it right, it should stay the same regardless of how far back you move, outside of other factors like wind and stuff like that. But establish your left to right. I'm gonna give it one more click clockwise, and then I'm going to tighten the windage side to side, turrets back down. That way they won't move. I'm going to loosen the elevation or the up and down turret screws. To actually try a different standard. I'm not certain. This is not the Allen wrench that came with it. I want to make sure I'm not stripping those out. Having a hard time getting this screw loosened, and I don't want to strip it. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna, same things. So one click is a ½ inch at 100 yards. So at 50 yards, it's gonna be a quarter of an inch. So we need to go about an inch up. I'm gonna go 4 clicks. And we're gonna shoot another group and see where we end up at. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let's go see. I'm hoping it's on, because I don't want to make this a super long video. It's already pretty long. But this can be a long process. So, all right, we're looking good. That was a good group. These three. And say the average of those is probably about right there. So I'm going to call that good. I'm going to call that a good 50-yard zero, and not make this a super long video. So let's go back here and talk about it for just another minute. And if you have any questions about the process or my equipment, my budget equipment, let me know down in the comments. Please like, dislike, subscribe, troll me. I don't care. Just get the algorithm going. So just show you the turrets here. You can see this is the elevation. That U stands for up. There's an arrow that points that way. So if you click it clockwise, it's going to move your dot up. It's going to move your point of impact up. It's going to move your point of impact up. I'm going to tighten this turret down while I'm thinking about it so I don't forget. That Allen wrench just does not seem to be the exact right size. I don't want to strip it out. I've got the one that came with it, but it's in another bag. Okay, so that made that solid. I can't move it. I'm gonna put the caps back on. That protects them. You want to protect your zero, because if you lose zero, you can't be accurate. I mean, you could walk a shot in. That's what we did last time we shot tannerite. Figured out where it was hitting and just held high and left. And but that is pretty much the process for sighting in a scope, an optic. Same principles for pretty much anything you're going to sight in. See if you can see this again. Should be able to see that green dot. Focus on it. Okay. So that's it, guys. Sighting in for dummies, essentially. I'm going to set this back up. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's helpful. I hope to continue doing some more topics that might be helpful to you. This is just something I needed to do, so I thought, well, we'll make a video of it. But now my AR is on at 50 yards. So from 50 to 250 yards, I can pretty much hold straight on. Going to be shooting a little high from 50 to 250. But I should be on at 50 and on at 250, and that should be adequate for anything that I need. It's certainly adequate for shooting tannerite out here on the range, which we may do another time in another video. If you don't know what tannerite is, it's an explosive compound that you can buy pretty much any sporting goods store. You mix it up, it comes in a little container. I've got some right here, actually. This is a 1 pound jar of tannerite. It's not mixed up. This one's not. There's two components in here that are inert. They don't do anything if they're not mixed, but when you mix them, they do something. They explode when you shoot them with a high-speed projectile. That's what I'm referring to when I say tannerite, though. I just threw a can of explosives down. It's supposed to be inert when it's not mixed. So, anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.